Hi, welcome to session 2 of the Free Yourself from Unseen Blocks mini course. I'm Daniel Piatek. As an author, spiritual mentor, and intuitive, I have the joy and privilege of guiding others to make profound and lasting change in their lives. Thanks for joining me. So in session 1, I shared information about why you might not be having the success that you want to be having in making change in your life. I shared some surprising facts about how the human body-mind works. And I claim that what makes profound, lasting change possible is knowing how to get around the limitations of the non-conscious. Equally important is how to make use of the vast storehouse of intelligence that resides there. And I shared a little bit about my own story of how I began exploring body-based energetic healing and how I discovered the surprising differences it made without me realizing that I was being changed on such a profound level. Non-conscious means just that, not able to consciously see it until you see the results that happen surprisingly in your life. So I'm offering this free mini course because there are powerfully effective ways to get unstuck in your life, to break out of old patterns of thinking and feeling, and to have the kind of life you deeply desire. But it may be using tools and techniques which are unfamiliar. So I'm offering this information along with giving you experience using a few techniques to open up new worlds for you. Just like yesterday, at the end of this session, I will be teaching yet another technique. This one goes a little deeper. Make sure you check it out. So here in session 2, we're going to explore how thinking in terms of energy makes all things possible. Okay, let's start with something easy. E equals mc squared. Do you remember Einstein's famous equation from school days? In Einstein's own words, what this means is, concerning matter, we have all been wrong. What we have called matter is energy, whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. Did you know that Einstein's equation, which has been accepted in physics for 115 years, calculates that your body has the same amount of energy as 80,000 atomic bombs? That's a hell of a lot of energy packed in what we call matter. So matter, or physicality, the physical world, is actually energy. And there's a tremendous amount of energy, of power, sitting there waiting to be tapped. Another esteemed physicist, Nikola Tesla, said, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, energy, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence." So what is it about energy? It seems it would be a darn good idea for us to get a better grasp on it. Okay. So let me tell you a little story. So I'm 28 years old, and for the past 2 years, I've been investing a lot of time and energy into studying and exploring spirituality. In this moment, I'm at the end of having taken a month off of work to go away to seminary where I'm super focused, studying, praying, meditating, and contemplating what it is that's calling me in my life. It's not quite lunchtime, so I amble out to the garden and I lay down on a bench to soak up the sun. I lay back on the bench and I close my eyes and I disappear. Bliss. Light. Whoa. After I don't know how long, I start to wonder, where am I? I'm here, more here than I've ever been anywhere, but where am I? I don't have a body. I don't know where I start and stop. I'm here, but so is all that is, has been, and ever will be. But there is no thing here, and yet no thing is missing. It, I, we, is all knowledge, all power, all everything. Whoa. But where am I? Where is the edge of me? And suddenly I'm back, laying on the bench, feeling the warmth of the sun, as if nothing had just happened. But my life is never again the same. So I'm sharing this story because this and many other experiences have shown me directly that there is a whole hell of a lot more going on here than we know. You've probably had experiences that tell you that also. It told me that who I am, who you are, who we all are, has no built-in limitation whatsoever. None. The truth is that every single one of us is whole, perfect, and complete. But real life, as we like to call it, seems to reflect limitation of all sorts back to us. And there must be some sort of limitation that you're up against in your life, which has brought you here to this mini course. I'm so glad you're here. Because the difficulties and struggles of life are in fact real. But in most cases, the problem isn't what we think it is. Instead, it lives in the way we see who we are, what the problem is, what's going on, etc., which then dictates how we respond to it all. We have to start from a different starting point rather than trying to keep harder and harder trying to solve it, doing various versions of the same things that don't work or don't work as well as we need them to. So in order to bring this more into something tangible, let's take a look at how we perceive life. Let's get a little glimpse into how we go about experiencing life all day long. While there's a lot more to it, I'm going to keep this simple and stick with one of our physical 5 senses. Okay, so I would like you to take a look around where you are right now and select one specific object and just look at it. Take a moment and look at it. And bring your attention to what that experience is like. Great. Now come back here with me. So this is something we do all day long without giving it a second thought. You think you're seeing that object. Well, of course I am, you fool. You're probably thinking. In fact, you're not. Now stick with me on this. What's happening is that there is light energy coming off of that object. It's processed through the physical structures of your eyes. Then that light energy is decoded and recoded into electrical energy by the retina. The electrical energy is sent to different parts of your brain, where this electrical signal is processed and decoded differently by each part of the brain. The energy signals are compared to information, energy, stored in the non-conscious to create meaning through comparing this signal with stored signals. The memories, it's all energy. These various pieces of decoded information are assembled together, again compared to stored energy in the non-conscious, and then shape, size, color, texture, lighting, all of that is assembled. Oh, and then at some point the image is turned 180 degrees so that we don't perceive the world upside down. All those pieces are then assembled together and presented to us as what we assume to be the object. It's just the object, we think. But can you get a little sense that it's not at all that simple? Instead, it's energy in various forms that's decoded, processed, converted, recoded, decoded, checked against the databases, assembled, rechecked, and presented to us somehow, projected on a screen somewhere inside of us. But it doesn't end there. It's not simply a visual image that's presented, right? There's also a name, words, meaning, associations, memories. These kind of things come along as well. They were also a part of your experience of seeing that object. Probably also feelings, opinions, attitudes, all of this kind of stuff. This little example may seem unimportant, But I want to very simply demonstrate what's happening to us non-stop without us even thinking about it. Hopefully you can begin to appreciate that there is a lot going on in this one few-second slice of being alive, of simply seeing an object for just a few seconds. So much more is going on than you knew. That's my first point. The second point I want to bring out is that this whole process is all about coding, transmitting, processing, decoding, recoding, and assembling energy. Energy in the forms of light, electricity, thought, stored information, memory, associated memories, even feelings, attitudes, and opinions. It's all energy. And it was all a part of us seeing one object out there for just a few seconds. This is just a little microcosmic example of how we experience every single little bit of our life. There are so many things that we just take for granted that are quite simply betraying us. Because what happens when some parts, or even maybe many parts of that complex process, are feeding unhelpful, incorrect, old, outdated, unwanted, didn't know that was in there, kinds of information into that whole complicated process that's running on autopilot. This automatic pilot mechanism keeps us from seeing what's really going on. It makes it so that we can never get to actually solving the deeper, more ingrained, horribly frustrating kinds of problems and difficulties that we're dealing with in our lives. So all of our experience of life is the decoding of energy, and it goes through a lot of steps. We think of the world and ourselves as physical things. Physical equals real. That things, especially physical things, have inherent reality. Now, it's not that this is completely false. No, that's not what I'm saying. But there is so much else that happens that we need to take into account. So quantum physics, which has been birthed all the way back when Einstein was still alive, shows us that you can't talk about things out there without considering the observer, without considering what's in here, without considering us. So do you remember in session 1, talking about the non-conscious and what a ridiculously huge part of what we're up to in life is happening back there where we can't see it and where we can't know it consciously? I said that this is only a problem if first you don't know it's happening. We took care of that last session. And secondly, if you don't know how to deal with it. So stay tuned. We're going to address that in the next session. So in session 3, I'm going to combine the information on how the non-conscious works from session 1 with today's understanding that everything is energy. And you'll begin to see how there could be so much more possible for you in your life by approaching your challenges from this new perspective. Maybe those things that you feel you need to get over, to deal with, to heal, to change, to conquer, maybe there's a completely different way to look at the whole thing that does indeed open up worlds of possibility for you. It's not a maybe, there is. Don't miss session number 3. So today's technique I call the Be With technique. It's based on information that I'll present next session about how energetic systems need to always be allowed to flow to stay healthy. You don't need that information in order to use this technique now, though. So let's give this a try. So the idea here is quite simply that emotion is energy. And that energy, we want energy to be flowing freely in our system so that it doesn't create a block or create a problem. So what you would do is that when you are experiencing, so what I would suggest is you could do this now when we're done, or I'll walk you through something, but I won't take the time that you want to give to it. But maybe if you have something now that's aggravating to you, that causes you some agitation in some way, so fear, anxiety, distress, anger, disappointment, sadness, anything that causes some little The way we're going to do it is to resolve that emotional energy, that energy in motion that is emotion. Because our body has such incredible intelligence in it, that non-conscious intelligence. Remember talking about it being 90 to 95% of our intelligence. But what it needs is for us to stop and put our conscious awareness on that energy. So what you would do, and maybe you could do it now, is sit and take a breath, get yourself settled, get yourself sorted, just kind of, and tune into your body. Because often the body will show us things that are hard, we can't reach with our mind. Our body will say, here. And tune into some place in your body that feels uncomfortable or agitated, or it's just calling your attention. It doesn't even necessarily need to feel bad, but it's calling your attention there. This is more apparent when you're starting to do it at first, particularly when you have an agitated state that's quite obvious to you, then you can just go right there. So it might be difficult right now if you're not into it, some kind of a state that you can tune into. But the idea is quite simple. It's actually hard for people because we're not used to doing this, but it's quite simple. Is what you do is you put your attention on that part of your body. Use your body because it helps to root you into being here now. It keeps you focused. Tune into that part of your body. And with care, concern, unconditional love, attention, curiosity, lean in your mind's eye to that energy and be interested in what it is. Be interested in what it is as it is without trying to change it, without taking any desire for it to go away, to be different. This is like radical self-acceptance. So if you can imagine what the ideal, like unconditionally loving parent, probably mother is a little bit easier, unconditionally loving mother would be, when the child runs up and is crying and just wraps her arms around it and just says, "It's okay, baby, it's okay." Not trying to make it any different, but letting that child know it's safe, it's secure, it's loved, it can be exactly how it is, and that mother's going to be there until she's done crying or he's done crying. That's the kind of energy you want to bring. And the way you can to do this is to give your loving attention, and this is where you just use your imagination. And I don't have time to cover this at this point, but allow yourself to just simply imagine, feel like you're making it up. It doesn't matter. You're engaging a different part of you than this part, and that's what really matters, is that you tune into it. You can do all kinds of things, but the idea is you want to get closer, like you're interested, you want to know what this is. So you can do it. Some people, like I do it, I dialogue. I create a dialogue in my mind. Hi, what's going on? And I just imagine what I might be hearing back. Some people find that difficult, but that's one way to do it. And the idea is you're not trying to change anything. You're just giving loving, supportive, unconditionally loving attention to that energy. That's all you're doing. But you do that by showing interest. I want to know you. Tell me what's going on. So if the conversation in your mind doesn't work, you can do that by pretending like, okay, if this had a color, what color would it be? If this had a texture, what would the texture be? Can I try to represent that energy with my hand? I find this really powerful sometimes. It's like if I was to try to represent that energy in my hand, what would it look like? Sometimes it's like this, and sometimes it's like this. But the idea is loving, supportive, totally accepting attention and interest in that energy. Because that energy has intelligence. And that energy knows what to do, but it needs to be met with acceptance that it's okay. This may sound crazy to you. It did to me when I first started doing it. But it has profound effects. Because this energy, we're going to cover this next time, but this energy has tremendous intelligence in it. We have tremendous intelligence in us. That's not the thing that we're using all day long. Remember, 90 to 95% of the intelligence lives back here. Energy has intelligence. The energy of that emotion has intelligence. So this is about basically just saying, look, I'm here. I love you. You can be exactly how you are. And what will happen is, if you're not trying to change it, loving it, accepting it, interested, wanting to know it, it will begin to resolve itself. That's the magic. And so just try it. Try it out. And I would love to hear from you if you want to jot down a few little things to send to me about what the experience was like for you. I'd love to hear. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you soon for session 3. Here's to your best life. Bye for now.